Imagine waking up one morning, looking at your loved one's face, and realizing that the center of their features seems blurred or distorted, while the edges of the room are still clear. Here's the shocking part for millions of people over 60. This isn't a sudden event. It's a slow, silent process that's been happening for years, often without pain, without warning, and without anyone telling them that something as simple as what they eat every single day could make a real difference. Most people believe that macular degeneration is just an unavoidable part of aging. That once it starts, there's nothing you can do except wait for it to get worse. But that belief is not only wrong, it's dangerously misleading. Because there is one daily dietary habit that research keeps pointing to as a powerful way to slow this condition down. And hardly anyone is talking about it in plain language. If you're over 60, or if you care about someone who is, you need to hear this all the way through, because the small choices you make at the table today can shape how clearly you see the world tomorrow. Macular degeneration, especially age-related macular degeneration, doesn't usually announce itself loudly. It creeps in quietly, affecting the macula, the central part of the retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision. This is the vision you use to read, to recognize faces, to drive, to thread a needle, or even to watch television comfortably. Peripheral vision often stays intact, which is why many people underestimate how serious this condition can be. They think, well, I can still see around the edges. But central vision is what gives independence, confidence, and quality of life. Once that central vision deteriorates, everyday tasks become frustrating, tiring, and sometimes impossible. The good news is that while age is a major risk factor, it is not the only factor, and it is certainly not the one you have the least control over. Let's talk about why food matters so much here. Your eyes are among the most metabolically active organs in your body. They are constantly exposed to light, oxygen, and environmental stress, which means they generate a lot of oxidative stress. Over time, this oxidative stress damages the delicate cells in the retina, particularly in the macula. Think of it like rust slowly forming on metal. If nothing slows it down, the damage accumulates. This is where nutrition comes in. Certain nutrients act like protective shields, neutralizing harmful free radicals and supporting the structure and function of retinal cells. When your daily diet lacks these nutrients, the macula becomes far more vulnerable to damage. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear is that eye health is all about carrots and vitamin A. While vitamin A is important, macular degeneration is far more closely linked to a different group of nutrients, especially specific antioxidants and pigments that naturally accumulate in the macula itself. These pigments are lutein and zeaxanthin. They function like internal sunglasses for your eyes, filtering out harmful blue light and reducing oxidative stress directly where it matters most. Your body cannot make these compounds on its own. You must get them from food, and you must get them consistently. This brings us to the simple daily habit that can have an outsized impact. Eating dark leafy greens every single day. I'm not talking about once a week or only when you feel like being healthy. I mean daily, intentional consumption of foods like spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, and similar vegetables. These greens are among the richest natural sources of lutein and zeaxanthin available. When you eat them regularly, these pigments actually build up in the macula over time, strengthening its defenses. Multiple large studies have shown that people with higher dietary intake of these nutrients have a significantly lower risk of progression of age-related macular degeneration. Now, before you think this sounds too simple to be true, consider how the body works. Degenerative conditions are rarely caused by a single dramatic event. They are the result of years of small stresses adding up. In the same way, protective strategies don't usually work overnight. They work quietly, cumulatively, and powerfully when practiced consistently. Eating leafy greens daily isn't a magic cure, but it is one of the most evidence-supported ways to slow damage and preserve function. Let's dig a little deeper into how this actually helps. The macula contains a concentrated layer of lutein and zeaxanthin called the macular pigment. This pigment density varies from person to person. Higher macular pigment density is associated with better visual performance and lower risk of macular degeneration progression. When you consume foods rich in these compounds, your body transports them to the retina and incorporates them into this protective layer. Over time, this increases the macular pigment density, enhancing the eye's natural defense system. This is not theoretical, it has been measured directly in clinical studies. But leafy greens do more than just provide lutein and zeaxanthin. They are also rich in vitamin C, vitamin E folate, and various phytonutrients that support blood vessel health. This matters because the retina relies on a dense network of tiny blood vessels to deliver oxygen and nutrients. Poor circulation, inflammation, and oxidative damage all contribute to retinal degeneration. A diet rich in leafy greens supports overall vascular health, which indirectly protects the eyes as well. Another crucial factor is inflammation. Chronic, low-grade inflammation increases with age and plays a role in many degenerative diseases, including macular degeneration. Leafy greens contain compounds that help regulate inflammatory pathways in the body. When inflammation is reduced, the environment inside the eye becomes less hostile to delicate retinal cells. Again, this is not about eliminating inflammation entirely, which is impossible and unhealthy, but about keeping it in balance. You might be wondering how much is enough. While there is no single perfect number, research suggests that even 1 to 2 servings of dark leafy greens per day can significantly increase lutein and zeaxanthin levels over time. A serving might be a cup of raw spinach in a salad, a handful blended into a smoothie, or a portion cooked with olive oil. Cooking actually helps break down plant cell walls, making these nutrients more absorbable, especially when consumed with healthy fats. This brings up another important point: absorption. Lutein and zeaxanthin are fat-soluble, which means your body absorbs them much better when they are eaten with some dietary fat. Adding olive oil, avocado, nuts, seeds, or even a bit of eggs to your greens can dramatically increase how much of these protective compounds your eyes actually receive. This is why a salad with leafy greens and olive oil is far more effective than plain greens alone. Of course, what you don't eat matters too. Diets high in refined carbohydrates and added sugars have been linked to a higher risk of macular degeneration progression. These foods spike blood sugar, increase oxidative stress, and promote inflammation. Over time, they damage small blood vessels, including those in the retina. If you're eating leafy greens daily, but still consuming large amounts of sugary snacks, white bread, and processed foods, you're working against yourself. Slowing macular degeneration is about tipping the balance in favor of protection rather than damage. Let's also talk about consistency, because this is where many people struggle. They might eat well for a week or two, then fall back into old habits. Eye health doesn't respond to short bursts of effort. It responds to long-term patterns. Think of daily leafy greens as part of your routine, Like brushing your teeth, you don't brush once a week and expect good results. The same principle applies here. Small daily actions add up to meaningful protection over years. Now, some people ask whether supplements can replace food. Supplements containing lutein and zeaxanthin can be helpful, especially for those who struggle to eat enough greens. However, whole foods provide a complex mix of nutrients that work together synergistically. You also get fiber, which supports gut health, and a healthy gut improves nutrient absorption and reduces systemic inflammation. Supplements should be seen as an addition, not a replacement, unless advised otherwise by a healthcare professional. Another common question is whether it's ever too late to start. The answer is no, even if you've already been diagnosed with early or intermediate macular degeneration. Dietary changes can still slow progression. The ERADS and ERADS-2 studies, which are some of the most influential studies in this field, showed that specific nutrient combinations can reduce the risk of progression to advanced stages. Lutein and zeaxanthin were key components in these findings, replacing beta-carotene due to safety concerns in smokers. This tells us that targeted nutrition matters, even after diagnosis. Lifestyle factors also play a supporting role. Smoking is one of the strongest risk factors for macular degeneration, so quitting is essential. Regular physical activity improves circulation and reduces inflammation, benefiting the eyes as well as the rest of the body. Protecting your eyes from excessive sunlight with UV blocking sunglasses also reduces cumulative light damage to the retina. But among all these factors, daily diet is one of the most controllable and sustainable changes you can make. Let's make this practical. Imagine your day starting with a simple omelette that includes sautéed spinach and onions, cooked in olive oil. At lunch, you might have a salad with mixed greens, tomatoes, nuts, and a vinaigrette. At dinner, maybe a side of steamed kale or collard greens with a drizzle of olive oil or a sprinkle of seeds. This doesn't require exotic ingredients, expensive supplements, or complicated recipes. It requires intention and repetition. It's also important to address mindset. Many seniors feel that making dietary changes at their age won't matter, or that the damage is already done. This mindset can be more harmful than the condition itself. The body has an incredible capacity to adapt, even later in life. Cells respond to improved nutrition at any age. While you may not reverse existing damage, slowing further decline can preserve independence and quality of life for years. We should also acknowledge that vision loss affects more than just the eyes. It affects mental health, increasing the risk of depression, anxiety, and social isolation. Preserving vision isn't just about seeing clearly. It's about staying connected to the world, maintaining confidence, and enjoying daily activities. When you frame dietary changes in this broader context, they become acts of self-care rather than chores. Another point worth mentioning is genetic risk. Some people have a family history of macular degeneration and feel doomed by their DNA. While genetics do influence risk, they do not determine destiny. Lifestyle factors, especially diet, can significantly modify how genes are expressed. This is known as epigenetics. By providing your body with the right nutrients, you can influence how aggressively or gently a condition progresses. If you're caring for an aging parent or spouse, encouraging daily leafy greens can be one of the most loving and practical things you do. Prepare meals together, experiment with recipes, and make it enjoyable rather than restrictive. Change is far more likely to stick when it feels supportive rather than forced. As we come toward the end of this discussion, let's bring it all together. Macular degeneration after 60 is common, but severe vision loss is not inevitable. The macula is particularly vulnerable to oxidative stress and inflammation, both of which are strongly influenced by diet. Lutein and zeaxanthin, found abundantly in dark leafy greens, act as natural protectors for the retina. Eating these foods daily, especially with healthy fats, helps build and maintain macular pigment, slows degeneration, and supports overall eye health. This simple habit, practiced consistently, can make a meaningful difference over time. To summarize in just a few sentences, macular degeneration doesn't have to progress as quickly as many people fear. Daily consumption of dark leafy greens provides critical nutrients that protect the macula, reduce oxidative stress, and support long-term vision health. Combined with healthy lifestyle choices, this habit can help preserve your independence and quality of life as you age. If you found this information valuable, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let me know in the comments what topic you want to see next.